2014, while I was serving in the 82nd Airborne Division, it was also the 70th anniversary of D-Day. And I was honored to be selected. I was a young major. I was honored to be selected to be a part of the group along with the division commander, Major General John Nicholson, that would go jump into Normandy again for the 70th anniversary. And we did that, and as you might imagine, it was the most incredible experience of a young officer's life. And I spent that week interacting with World War II veterans, guys like Rock Merritt, who had spent significant time on the ground. And what that gave me in 2014 was a level of appreciation for not just for history, but the importance of that history to the individuals that lived it. And I never forgot that. I mean, I'm sitting on the stairs of a church eating fried chicken in Normandy, France, with a group of guys who had used that same building 70 years earlier as their headquarters from which they were fighting. And we're sitting there swapping stories. And I, on my wife's side, my wife is an Army brat, her grandfather had jumped into D-Day, also with the 82nd. And on that day that I jumped in 2014, I actually had, we call it a family heirloom. It was a money clip, probably not worth more than a dime, but he had jumped with it in his pocket on D-Day. And he had carried it with him through the rest of World War II, through the Korean War, and then he'd given it to his son-in-law, who carried it through 2 tours in Vietnam, and then he had given it to me when I married his daughter years later, and I had, at that point, had carried it on 4 different combat deployments. And I jumped it back into Normandy in 2014. And as I sat there on the steps of those men at that church and told them the story, they knew who I was talking. They knew him. His name was Don Burke. And so that connection was now with me on a very different level.